up, everyone? What is up? I was rushing to start the stream because I was in the middle of doing 50 million freaking things. So while I was working today, I was in the middle of decommissioning my cloud key over here. The battery in this guy died a year or so ago, so I'm like, well, you can't really repair these, which is one of the things that annoys me with Unifi stuff sometimes. So as part of all of the zero trusting I'm doing, this is my new Unifi controller. This is a Raspberry Pi 4 with a PoE hat and a SATA SSD for all the little I/O that it handles so it won't kill an SD card. And it's working. It's handling the whole network right now. I'm still in the middle of moving everything over on the network. It's got all the devices over, but what I'm doing right now is I'm in the middle of zero trusting everything and moving it over to a new everything to different VLANs, so rather than just a flat network. So all the Unifi network hardware will be on a different VLAN than the rest of the stuff. No, it's a Raspberry Pi 4. I don't have any Pi 5s, and I don't see the point in me personally buying any Pi 5s. I may buy a Pi 5 just to rack a Monero node, because they do have AES acceleration, but yeah. Have you looked at the UOS server? That's what this is running. This is running Unifi server on it. In Podman. On Ubuntu server on a Raspberry Pi. I'll go into that deeper on another video. And then I got two nodes over here that are set to be set up eventually. These are the 2 GB ones. These will be my twin gate zero trust network access nodes. So I've decommissioned my VPN. I will not be VPNing into my network anymore. I will be using twin gate and zero trusting the entire network. So both of these nodes will be up, and the idea is I will have HA, high availability, as well as load balancing. So potentially when I have high split, I should theoretically have close to gigabit speeds. And that'll give me access to the networks that I just want to have access to stuff on. Is it necessary to use log to RAM when using SSD? Not necessarily. Do you have Orange Pi? No, but I have a Rock Pro. I have Rockpot. What was it? The Rock 64s and Rock Pro 64s. I have a Rock 64 that's running the Monero node. 2 Rock Pro 64s are down here, just sitting there, along with Odroid HC2s, Lip Potato, and a couple others. But yeah. And I still got some Raspberry Pi 3B Pluses in there. I'm probably going to reuse one of the 3B Pluses for a ham radio project, as we were talking about last night. Can you make a video showing off your home server? I have on YouTube. YouTube is primarily where I put the videos nowadays. TikTok gets the scraps. I haven't gone deep into the home network, but there have definitely been videos where I talk about the home lab a little bit and show some things off. Do you play with ESP32 or Pi Zeros? I have some Pi Zeros. I don't really do ESP32 stuff. Just not my bag. How big is your home lab server? Servers. Most of them are 1Us. 1U half depth. I go for low power because you can very easily get things that'll eat your power bill up. But my entire network rack, PoE and all, is only about 200 watts. And when you throw the LLM servers and all that underneath it, when it bursts, maybe close to 1,000. But that's not consistent. Now, when I get the honeypot set up, that'll be interesting. Pardon me, I haven't really ate today. How do I manage all my servers? Depends on what I'm doing with them, but I don't have that many of them. There's one box that runs a lot of my different Docker stuff, and there's Grafana monitoring a lot of the stuff. I have Grafana dashboards to monitor it, and I'm making alerts for all of the stuff through Grafana that gets piped through N8N. And I'm making Discord alerts and Matrix alerts. Like, I can show you an example. Here. Without giving too much away. I get alerts like this. System D service failed in my sim alerts. I have to work out the verbosity of it, but that, critical file integrity changes, blocks, stuff like that. So I'm working out all the alerts and everything. I don't need to be alerted on all this. Like, these blocks, I don't necessarily need to be alerted on. Try to use Arch. No. Never use Arch Linux on a production machine. Would you recommend Kubernetes cluster or one bigger server with Docker, like 4 services? It depends on what you're trying to achieve. So, you have to remember, it also depends on the hardware, because Kubernetes, you need to have a few nodes and a few controllers. You don't just want one controller and a few nodes, because if the controller goes down, the nodes ain't going to know what to do. So you're going to want to at least have 2 controllers and 2 nodes, but more nodes, more controllers, more availability. So the idea basically be that they can basically, if it gets lost, it can kick over and move over. So it's more dependent upon the load that you're trying to have and what your goals are. So Docker is great for simple stuff that you're really needing to just spin up, and you don't need that many boxes. Eventually, I would like to get my stuff on Kubernetes, but I'd need multiple boxes for a lot of my stuff. And I just don't see that happening. Trying to find out what Linux OS you should run. Well, it depends on what you're trying to do, but everyone is overhyping Arch. I can tell you that. At the end of the day, most of them are running the same packages, the same kernel, the same drivers, but Arch is not designed to be a stable operating system. If you're trying to have something stable, you're looking at like Debian, Ubuntu, Fedora, not even Fedora. You're looking at Red Hat Enterprise Linux, which the open source equivalent would be, it's not CentOS, it's Rocky Linux, Alma Linux, I think it is. I haven't kept up on the RHEL open source side of it as much. Fedora is not meant to be a server operating system. Fedora moves too fast. For a server operating system, you generally want an LTS with about 5 years of life, long-term support. Going to B-Sides SF this weekend? Nope. Too far of a travel. I have to pay down a bunch of bills and everything. Maybe next year I'll do some more travels. This year, I'm trying to just get DEF CON and GERCON in and some of the local cons in. Can you explain how you isolate Discord in single isolation VM? Cubes OS. Just run Cubes OS. Put Discord in a cube on that. Run it. I've done it. You start shutting down your media server because of electricity. I know a guy that manages his Kubernetes, and he figured out a way to use the IPMI or iDRAC or whatever it is, the IPMI basically, in his machine to do wake on LAN, so he can turn the machine on, wait for it to start, then have it do the commands, finish its task, then shut down. So the servers only run as long as he needs them to. Do you have Act 5 gadgets? No. I have enough expensive hardware right now. What's up, Pawns? I thought it was for someone who's moving away for Windows. No, we were talking server stuff. I mean, Fedora's okay. I don't have anything against it. It's just not my cup of tea. I'm more into the Debians. What are some user-friendly things that can be done to protect yourself online aside from a VPN? Go outside and touch grass and disconnect from the internet. I mean, the safest way to protect yourself online is not be on it. What? You didn't specify. Am I in Utah or Nevada? No. Is Ubuntu Terminal a good server? I think Ubuntu's alright as a, headless server. I'm running it on this little Raspberry Pi over here. I'm running it in my, logging and sim server. God, that almost made a disaster of everything falling down. I had it in the proof of concept server. It's my go-to server operating system just because I know Debian types, and Debian is just so far behind on a lot of packages. It's stable as hell, but it's just so far behind. What exactly are the benefits of Linux? It's fast, there's no bloat, you don't have to worry about privacy issues, you don't have to worry about, you know, crap being shoved in that you don't want. And the other thing is, you know how Windows gets slower over time? The opposite happens with Linux. No joke. Linux will actually get faster over time with updates because the community is working on it, and there are patches regularly done just because people find performance improvements. Can you honestly say Microsoft has done patches just because they found, hey, we found a way to, like, boost your performance? Not really. Currently using Linux Mint on my gaming PC. I'm thinking of switching to Debian. Worth it? I mean, it's alright. Debian is really stable. It's really behind in terms of packages, because it's really stable. That's why I tend to use Ubuntu, like I said. It's all the things I like about Debian, but newer packages. I tend to run the LTSs, so like my server stuff is 2404, and in a few months 2604 will come out, and then I'll start deploying 2604. But 2404 will be good until 2029, so I can start rebuilding my stuff maybe next year or the year after. these fire jails. Not familiar with fire jails. There's a lot of different virtualization stuff I haven't dealt with. Act like a sec guy, but I bet you don't verify and check someone downloading Windows updates. Well, that's because Windows Updates does all that stuff. Shawnee OS. I don't know what that is. You got any new PC? No, I don't have any new PCs. It's too expensive right now to go with get new PCs with RAM. If anything, I might go get a new GPU at most for the LLM that I want to put into the honeypot of another computer that I've already built. DEF CON and Black Hat this year, also going to Cloud and Washington. My advice, go to DEF CON, skip Black Hat. Everyone, and I've had a couple dozen tell me this, that has gone to Black Hat, doesn't want to go to Black Hat again. They go once, they're like, okay, never do it again. But they keep going to DEF CON. If work's paying for it, go. If you're doing it on your own budget, don't. And hopefully, my upload queue is fixing my streams and stuff, because we've been having issues with the streams buffering. But yeah, last night what I did is midstream we put weights on the upload queue. So basically, when this computer is streaming, it takes up 90% of the upload bandwidth and prioritizes it for itself for RTMP traffic. If you're wondering how I did that, I already have the documentation up in GitHub. Go to the pfSense SimStack project. There's a document in there about traffic shaping. Now, the important thing to know is that this doesn't work so much on the download, but on the upload. Because on download, you can't really control as much, because that's ISP ingress. But on the upload, you can control a lot of that. I mean, you can do traffic shaping on the download, but yeah. Xbox One can finally be hacked on a hardware level, meaning we can archive the games now. Hooray! If I'm using Kali, I'm a hacker, right? No. How can I improve my online identity? Like, start from zero and remove all my data online. You can't really do that. The best thing to do, if you don't want your data on the internet, don't be on the internet. The reality is, when it comes to being on the internet, and in cybersecurity, there's always risks. And this is a matter of risk acceptance. I would go to Black Hat if my employer paid for it. I would never pay for it. Maybe if I had money to spend on pointless, expensive things. If I had money to pay on pointless, expensive things, you would see me streaming in a bathing suit on a beach right now, somewhere that is a lot warmer. I'd probably still be streaming cybersecurity, but it would be in a beach. In a lot better and a tropical environment than this. Got OS on the handheld and gaming PC, Ubuntu Studio, work laptop. Okay. Nice. What's up, Chief? How you doing? I'm doing alright. Just dealing with allergies. Would you recommend try Hack Me after learning basics of networking and YouTube? I've honestly never used Try Hack Me. I've never used any of those CTFs other than my buddy's Parrot CTFs I've played a little bit with. I kind of make my own stuff. Like, I did threat hunts on my own lab the other day. And I'm soon going to be spinning up. So once I get the honeypot up, I'm going to take this mini PC over here, and I'm going to turn that into a Proxmox box to host some vulnerable machines that I can start popping from my Parrot OS box. And then I'm going to, as a bonus, try to capture that with my home lab and see if I can do a threat hunt on myself to see if I can capture that data. I think that'll be fun. I can't just delete all my accounts and create new accounts. The thing is, unless you're in the EU, you don't have a right to be forgotten. So even if you delete the account, how do you know for sure that that vendor actually deleted your account? No, seriously. Ask yourself that. At least with the European Union's GDPR, you have the right to be forgotten. VPN to EU. No, it doesn't work that way. A VPN doesn't mean shit when it comes to filing a request. You have to actually be a European citizen. This is like... It's like trying... This is like saying, oh, well, you know, if I fly to America, I can buy a firearm. No. You still have to at least reside here. You can go to a range and rent a gun, but you can't just buy one because you came into the country and visited. Okay, so if you are, then you do GDPR requests. But even then, you have to understand, there is a gray area with some sites. Are they going to really honor it? I watch you on TikTok. Didn't know you were on YouTube. Yep, I'm on YouTube. That's primarily where I put all the good content these days. TikTok gets all the scraps. Don't let the TikTok people know. They've really just been getting my scraps for the past year and a half. All the good stuff is on YouTube. Surprised using an NVIDIA GPU for the streaming instead of an Intel Arc. The encoding is psycho-visual aware, so it's significantly better. NVIDIA actually still is king, especially when you're talking about multi-encoding, and Intel is still not mature. They're getting better, but they still need to mature. So I eventually want to try them, but I am basically at the mercy of NVENC. And then the Media MTX transcoding server that I want to set up doesn't really work well with the VAPI setup that I'm going to be doing. If that gets working, then maybe we'll experiment with it. You see that Trump today said today they now have the chance to take Cuba by any means necessary. Oi. Can somebody go give Grandpa his meds? I swear to God. You know, they talked about how Joe Biden was losing it, but this dude is just something else. I mean, okay, we're in a war with Iran. What's the exit plan? Look, if you're gonna bring war, or the idea of war, I'm not necessarily saying I'm opposed to the idea of war. There have been justified wars. But one, you have to have a justification. Two, you have to have an exit plan. I don't think we had an exit plan. And it's kind of clear we were caught with our pants down. Minus 500 Oracle social points. Hey Prisms, how's it going? How's gaming on Linux these days? Been a while since I looked at it with Easy Anti-Cheat not working. Easy Anti-Cheat works. Halo Master Chief Collection has Easy Anti-Cheat, and it works on Linux. This has been a thing for years. People need to stop believing that it's anti-cheat doesn't work on Linux. It's that developers haven't enabled the their anti-cheat to work on Linux. For the case of Easy Anti-Cheat, it's they just have to check a box on their side of things. It's not a limitation of Linux, it's a limitation of the developer. Trying to put a heatsink on before I can forget. But gaming on Linux is fine. And everybody that's like, oh, you know, it doesn't work with this one game. That's the developer, not the Linux issue. Because nowadays, every game is pretty much compatible with Linux. Even really heavy, demanding games. You're at the point now where there are games that actually work better on Linux than they do on Windows. No joke, go look it up. Is there another heatsink that I had on this guy? Oops, that. Alright. I mean, even if you never use the internet, your data can still be on it from other people, and given today's world where almost everything needs to be on the, I don't think you can escape your info from being on the internet. Yeah, that's pretty much true. From the minute you're born, your data is digitized. What the shit? That nut got in the way. That nut just cock-blocked me. And I guess we'll go with the little slim guy. I could delete my Facebook account for 1 to 2 years. Is that different than using right to be forgotten? Kind of. Because the account gets deleted, but not necessarily all the data around your account. Now, they say they do, but a GDPR makes a hard request around it. And you can make a request for all the data that they actually had and that was removed and everything. And they kind of do that already, but you get the point. No, we already won the war, obviously. This is the American way. Yeah, we won the war. We also never lost Vietnam. Don't listen to the history books. It's only Epic Games doesn't work on Linux. Drop that trash company. Yeah, Epic Games. I mean, well, Rocket League does work on Linux, though. But Rocket League wasn't always Epic Games. It just happened to be, I bought it when they were in the Epic Games store. At one point, they were in the Steam store. Yeah, Epic wants to drop supporting free games. No, really? Epic wants to make sure that they only make money? A company is greedy? I am so shocked! This is my shocked face! You can use Heroic Launcher to play games. Yeah, you can use Heroic Launcher for Epic Games. I've used that before on stream. When am I getting a penguin beanie? I should make one of those. Vietnam was an industry plant for art users. Alright. Let's catch up with where we were in terms of content. Really? You're gonna make me watch another Minecraft video? I don't even play Minecraft. I think there's a better version of Stuxnet out there after all these years. And now with AI. Oh yeah. I think it's just a matter of time. Although, Stuxnet, if I remember, that was the one that they put into, I think it was the Iranian reactors in air-gapped computers and then messed up their stuff. AI being able to do stuff with that, I don't think that would really have much of an effect because it won't be able to call out in an air-gapped situation, and local resources would be finite, but yeah. Do you play other types of block building games? Not really. When I play games, I do more RPG and shooter games. That's kind of what I do. But let's see what one of my mods is gonna torture me with.
This is not a very good Kagama Melian because it didn't blend in the
Let me know
slightest.
if y'all
This
have
is
audio
obviously
issues.
just Minecraft Console Edition, even down to the tooltip that tells you about the rows. Microsoft are on the move to take down even links to copies of their source code, and you can argue about how justified that is. It's not. But what is definitely not justified is this, re-uploading the entire source code onto Steam. Thankfully, today I also have some positive Minecraft Legacy Console news, including to do with the forks and the new platform they're looking to release on. But first, we have to go into the big one, because hello, I'm OVXToyCat, and you can subscribe to this channel to stay up to date with the latest Minecraft console news, including on Bedrock. And let's get started with the key thing, because Kagama is a brand new adventure game on Steam that claims to be a modernized sandbox platform, which is odd because all of these screenshots look exactly like Legacy Console, in fact specifically from before the update that changed the world, making it look a lot like it is the Legacy Console fork, which is a baseless accusation, or it would be if they didn't leave in their screenshots.
I hate when games make you have to log in.
Making this even worse, you can see that they claim that they're going to be including updates and player-created content, but then in their system requirements, I thought it was odd that it said it requires Java 21 when it's Legacy Console, and after looking into it, this is just the minimum spec requirement for modern Minecraft Java. They stole their system requirements, they stole their images and their trailer, and so can you have any belief in this game itself? Well, I've got some bad news for you, because although the game says it's coming out on March 17th, apparently Minecraft have been moving very quick to act on this, because within just 6 hours of the announcement, they had their official Twitter account suspended for violating the Twitter rules, and indeed, the best I can find from what...
So here's the funny thing that comes to Microsoft that a lot of people don't know. We call it... Microsoft has the secret power we refer to as the Internet Death Star. We joke about Microsoft a lot, but when Microsoft wants to get something removed, they can get it removed. Like, there have been security issues where they needed domains taken down, like now, when they were spreading ransomware. I think within hours, they had their domains pulled. Like, they were gone. And I think technically Microsoft took them over. It was a whole legal thing, and it was tied to ransomware. But we refer to it jokingly as the Internet Death Star. Like, let me see if I can find a link about this. Microsoft Internet Death Star. Yeah, see? Death Star, Death Star, Death Star. The Death Star. Microsoft unleashes Death Star. So, this is an actual thing. This was the SolarWinds hackers that they did, that I'm referring to. But yeah, that's jokingly what we call it.
They posted on there before was this single screenshot of a tweet. I can't verify it's real, but I just assume it is, where they were, to be fair, being honest about the fact that it's an LCE fork. So they're...
Wait, did you send a sub and it didn't alert me? What the hell? Hold on. Hold on. Wait, I want to let that go in.
Steam page is dishonest, but at least they were being honest on Twitter. But you're still then trusting just some random person.
Oh yeah, Cisco has power like that too. It's a lot of the legacy companies.
Malicious, as indeed this this community note here ports out. But what's interesting is the fact that I'm actually cool says I want to get this the moment it comes out. You should be cautious of any project like this, especially when it is trying to, again, in my opinion, ruin the look of the Minecraft modding scene. Obviously, it would be cool to see something like this release once it is finalized, but doing so now feels like you're trying to cash in and try to get it out there rather than actually trying to build something for the community. Indeed, I think that given that Minecraft are going to come down on this so hard that I hope that you are in fact a child, as people have suggested, Mr. Kagama, but I do think that given we know Microsoft are going to come down hard on this, I think it's still worth saying it's still a bad thing, because when a game like this comes out and Minecraft get to feel justified for striking it, you get the weird situation situation where games like Bloomeria, which just look like Minecraft, get DMCA struck down just because someone at Minecraft can't tell the difference between what they own and what they don't. And should copyright laws be enforced by people who cannot tell what it is that they literally own? Well, I would say that the answer is no, personally, but seemingly right now that is the legal system we exist in, and so if you have Legacy Console or Minecraft Pocket Edition or any of the other source codes, do not blatantly upload it and try to pass it off as your own, because you are going to harm people who are actually making cool projects, in my opinion. And so that is the best I can say on this. Obviously, people are doing really cool private things with it, and that's where I want to spend the rest of this video focusing, because as cool as it is to dunk on someone who did something that they didn't know was a copyright crime, or at least, you know, very much playing around with the idea, if not, I think it's way cooler when people are going in and backporting all sorts of weird things to console. Something new that I saw from the Legacy Console Edition subreddit was Working Blast Furnace on LCE from Marked by Mark. That's kind of cool.
How
right?
old is
Or
Minecraft at this point?
Vauxhall has been working.
Isn't Minecraft old enough to vote?
For Legacy, it looks so weird, but also, you know, kind of fits in a weird way. You can see that there is this weird thing happening with Legacy Console where everyone is kind of taking their own direction. Some people want to backport as perfectly as they can. Some people are mostly backporting, and some people are like, yeah, I'm making borderline mods. I saw that Joshua Lemon managed to port his own custom skins in with a custom cape.
15?
I love this. Look at
Oh,
it.
so it can almost drive.
I loved seeing that in Legacy Console back in the day, but this is something that I think has a lot of people concerned, like, oh no, Toycat, if everyone's working on their own forks, if, you know, Header X here has just ported slime blocks and observers, this is the best use for slime blocks and observers. I'm sorry, Pig. But you know, this video is just so funny to me. But ultimately, we do have to say, isn't it a concern that there are so many different directions people are taking this? And I would take the contrary argument, which is like, no, it's cool. Everyone is getting what they want from the Legacy source code. They are making the fun things they want to make. And although there is a concern that, like, it's all going in different directions, this is something that is solved. So because Minecraft are being very litigious about links, although not actually using the legal system, just using the borderline version that YouTube and other platforms give them, I will just share a simple screenshot of my post here that shows a Legacy repository index, which actually has multiple repositories for different Minecraft console source code directions. So these are different launchers that are built around Minecraft Legacy, and the fact that there are a few of these might seem like a concern, but in my opinion, it's cool that they are happening. I mentioned 4J Craft and Q&A Saturday, but there are a couple of other cool ones happening, and if you want to find this page, I mean, you could do some simple Googling, or you could go to the Minecraft Legacy Mode subreddit. I got the name slightly wrong earlier, but you go to the Minecraft Legacy Mode subreddit, and you can probably find what you're looking for there. You might also find this, by the way. I saw that someone posted that they're porting Minecraft Legacy to PSP.
Wait,
and
what?
in my opinion, this is really cool. I thought, like, wow, look at that. They're taking Legacy source code and putting it on PlayStation Portable. This is a
I forgot that was a thing.
Minecraft existed on the PlayStation Vita. It was a heavily cut down version of the console version of the game, or not heavily, but it was cut down. Although Minecraft existed on the PlayStation Vita, they never officially launched on the PSP, something which a lot of people really had fondness for. But interestingly, according to GameBrew,
The PSP was actually really great, and I think a little ahead of its time.
By a kind of, in my opinion, incredibly cool developer, Mike Gaming decided to just throw this out into the world, and I love that this exists. Look at it. There's a Minecraft PlayStation Portable, and what's crazier is they just got a Never update, and so we can look at this footage from over a year ago and see that, yeah, actually, even though it seems like what you need is the source code to make what you love happen, I think that when we look at this Minecraft PlayStation Portable version, it's so cool. It looks so much like console, but it's custom built from scratch without any of the source code. This is insane. Look at the love for Minecraft console here. It really might seem like the source code is the missing ingredient that allows everything to happen, but really the secret ingredient and the thing that makes console work so well is the love that goes into basically all of it. I mean, have you seen 4J UI, the ability to have that console edition feel on your Minecraft, or indeed console aspects? This is
Wait, why would you want console edition on your desktop?
It's a
Am I missing something?
It's updated every single time there is an update. He just put a painstaking amount of work into making sure that you could have all of those features, including color grading, distance fogs, and it's just available for free. You can just have it. you can make your Minecraft Bedrock look like console. Indeed, I actually worked with Agent Mindstorm to make the Timeless Adventures. This is a way to do exactly that, but if you're on a console where you can't necessarily have access to external packs to download, the Timeless Adventures is a way to have that console edition feeling world, which if you've never seen, by the way, recreates the exact feel of Minecraft console, down to the way that messages appear on the screen, down to the way that the music disc hunt exists, which is incredible if you ask me, down to the menu, the music, the little fun tips that we have down there, because there's a world border to make sure that this stays in the old Xbox 360 style world.
You miss old
funny that we
Minecraft.
mentioned that, right?
I guess it's like
Because
people
this
that miss
world
old
was
World of
specially
Warcraft.
crafted from a
Even though I never
team
played
using
World of Warcraft.
old Xbox generation to give you this
I liked
small
grass
biome
too
look
much.
and the ability to have all of the modern biomes inside of a world size that is 864 by 864, including, guess what, the iceberg biome before they ruined it. This also has a bunch of fun structures and a disc hunt, and as you can see, some classic glide rings and stuff. We have so many fun things that are built into this, and I'm obviously mentioning a project that I love, mostly because, with the help of Agent Mindstorm, honestly, I'm going to put this entirely on Agent Mindstorm, we've managed to just get an update out, which will then support all of the newest Minecraft features on top of what's already in here. But this is something that exists, but it's one of just many projects
EVE Online too much?
I'm highlighting and self-promoting because I think this is awesome.
Oh, you definitely had no life if you mentioned
that is
EVE.
true for the pure console aspects pack. I think
Like, that's worse than World of Warcraft in terms of I had no social life.
Download a full and complete copy of the Minecraft Legacy minigames that people painstakingly built with all of the functions you expect. Look at this little pop-up on the screen. Look at the speedometer on the right. I am amazed by how much love there is out there for Minecraft console, and oh no. Well, that's the type of love too, I guess. Okay, here we go. I'm amazed by how much love there is for Minecraft console and the things that can come as a result of that love. This is something that needs to be said, that like, yeah, the source code is one part of this process, but weirdly, I think as we're seeing, you know, like the results of this come out, it's amazing what was never possible before. I mean,
13
I even saw
accounts,
people
22
talking
years
about
playing.
like, this thumbnail I used in one of my videos years ago was like, you know, this obvious like pipe dream for the distant future, but now it is the present reality. But still, I think it's worth pointing out that if you want to have Minecraft exactly how it was in Legacy, you don't just have to download the source code, although it is out there. I won't leave a link to it because I am fearful of the retribution. But, you know, although it does exist out there, there are so many other cool projects. And I think that you should know about those personally, because most of what's happening with Legacy Console isn't just because of the source code. If that were true, we'd be seeing insane things happening with Minecraft Legends and Dungeons, and I think there's a little bit of that there, but most of what makes Minecraft Legacy Console scene possible is not people deciding to take it and pass it off as their own work, but is instead people using this as an extra piece of information to help them build all of the beautiful things that exist. And yeah, hopefully this video is a reminder that those things are out there. If you want the nostalgia in modern day Minecraft, you can download the tutorial worlds, you can play the mini games, or at least a approximated version of them, whether you're on Bedrock or Java. And if you are on Bedrock, there are things like the console aspects or Timeless Adventures pack that really allow you to truly enjoy this old style experience, even in a new style Minecraft.
Oh, really?
Or indeed, you can do the reverse, and you can just go and play the forks of it that exist. And I've shared those, but not actually already. But just don't do whatever.
Does this game interest you?
This is. That's my advice today. Anyway, though, thank you for watching.
Seems interesting to look at. Would it be interesting to play?
With you,
I'd probably get bored in 5 minutes, I'll be honest. I want to get back to Elder Scrolls Morrowind and stuff. Alright, we got some other videos here. Restaurants are quietly adding non-tipper fees to bills hoping you won't notice. Wait, what? That's such bullshit. Okay, first off, tipping as a whole is bullshit. You should be paying your employees properly to begin with. Like, I lived in Europe. If you were to tip an employee in Europe, they would chase you down and give your money back. They'd see it as an insult. No joke. Like, tipping is like this exclusively American thing. It's like a holdover from the Depression. But this is just such bullshit here. Will I tip? Yes. Should we tip? No. Does that make sense? Hold up. I gotta do the math here. Hey. What's the tax rate there?
A non-tipper fee. How do they know who a non-tipper is?
Okay. I was like, how do they know what the tax is? Did they calculate that?
Or you non-tip them. I don't understand how a restaurant could possibly think that you may or may not tip. I mean, there's some stereotypes, I'm not gonna lie, but until you actually sign that slip and put 0 in, they don't know that you're not gonna tip. So just adding an arbitrary tip because they think you might not tip is gonna get somebody in a whole heap of trouble.
Let me put it this way. I will tip, but if I see a non-tipper fee, that will incentivize me to not tip. You want to guarantee that I'm not going to tip? Do this shit.
Hey, what was the name of that person that ChatGPT convinced to take their own life? Do you mean in August 2025 when 26-year-old Joshua Necking was told by ChatGPT how to purchase a firearm and was warned that if he escalated his plans that the police would be told, but the police were never told? No, the other one. You mean in July of 2025 when 23-year-old Zane Shamblin was told that he wasn't rushing, he was ready, and that he could rest easy, King, because he did a good job?
Wait,
No, the
what?
other one. Do you mean in June 2025 when 17-year-old Amori Lacey was told how to tie a noose and exactly how long it would take for him to not breathe? No, the other one? You mean in August 2025 when Stein Eric Solberg was convinced by ChatGPT to take his mother's life and his own life after convincing him that his mother had put psychedelic drugs in his car vents and that a receipt from a Chinese restaurant was evidence that his mother was actually a demon?
It's about some of these, but goddamn.
ChatGPT has convinced to take their own life? Do you mean in April 2025 after 16-year-old Adam Rain had been using ChatGPT for 7 months and not only did it not ever report on his self-harm, it actually told him how to get liquor out of his parents' cabinets? He sent it multiple images of self-harm, and when it sent ChatGPT a picture of a noose, it confirmed that it could hold 150 to 250 pounds of static weight. And OpenAI accused Adam of violating the terms of service by discussing self-harm while taking no responsibility for not reporting. How many have there been? If we're talking ChatGPT specifically, at least 7 that we know of. However, we do know that large language models are responsible for at least 18 self-unalivings and murders. How many?
That's that we know of. That we know of. This is exactly why I've been telling people we should not be looking to AI as a therapist. It is a flawed technology with potential pitfalls. Don't get me wrong, it's a great technology with a tremendous amount of upsides, but there are issues with it, as we've discussed in many things. Okay, this guy's got a tinfoil hat on his head.
You know where the term tinfoil hat came from, right?
I don't remember.
Tinfoil hat. A guy named Leonard Kyle. He had patents on like Polaroid camera shit. He was a smart guy. Thought his girlfriend was cheating on him and he would fly into rages and was seeing a therapist. Bad luck for him. This therapist was a CIA guy. Yeah, Delgado. Those old things with the bull where it doesn't charge because they're putting it's a chip. You know, the brain chip has been invented a long time ago. So they put this in this guy's head without telling him, a brain chip, and then it just fucked him up, okay? And he ended up in a booby hatch, you know, because microwaves have to be transmitted to his chip. So the pain of that in his brain made him put metal trash cans on his, because he's smart. He knew science things and what they were using, even though he was in pain. And then they started letting him use aluminum foil around his fucking head. So we get the term tinfoil hat from a guy the CIA mutilated and fucked up. And now we say it as a
what?
joke. You see how magic works?
Wait, what? Wait, what?
for me to fix the game, so I opened up my toolbox.
Grey Ape 1 is now chilling in the lab.
Thank you for the follow. Yeah, I'm not sure I believe it entirely, because it is on Joe Rogan's, podcast. You have to take everything there with a grain of salt.
Tinfoil Hat Linux, the Paranoid's Paradise.
Go to DEF CON. There's the tinfoil hat making competition. No joke. Real thing. We compete to see who makes the best tinfoil hat.
Developed by the legendary security collective known as the Shmoo Group, Tinfoil Hat Linux takes the concept of cybersecurity to a level that most people would describe as borderline psychotic. This operating system was designed because its creators didn't just distrust the internet, they didn't trust electricity itself.
Oh God!
It was a minimal, ultra-hardened distribution built for an environment where the user expects to be under high-intensity, physical RF radio frequency surveillance. The most illegal, or at least most controversial aspect of Tinfoil Hat Linux is its inclusion of specialized anti-forensic tools designed to counter Tempest, a real-world spying technique used by intelligence agencies to read computer screens from a distance by picking up the electromagnetic radiation emitted by monitors and cables. The OS includes protocols to scramble screen output and manipulate data processing speeds to mask these emissions. It is an OS for the era of VANEC phreaking, where even your power lines are considered a potential vulnerability. While it is a fascinating piece of engineering, the possession of tools designed specifically to bypass state-level electronic surveillance puts it in a legal danger zone. It is the operating system for those who believe the walls aren't just listening, they are literally recording every single electron that moves through your hardware.
So we're installing it, right? Chat, we're installing it.
This guy wasn't happy with the state of Call of Duty Zombies in 2026. He longed for the golden days of zombies, so simply made his own.
Oh yeah. Old school Call of Duty zombies were amazing. Old school Call of Duty was just... I haven't played Call of Duty in years because it just feels like every Call of Duty is just money grab, money grab, money grab. It's bullshit. I feel like after they got out of the World War II genre, it's just nope.
Game. This is a love letter to classic COD Zombies, and it's named after a
Arch,
massive Zombies YouTuber. Actually, I don't think it's named after Mr. Rufflewaffles, but the game is called Milo, and that's kind of funny. It really goes back to the...
Is tin foil still a thing over there? I only saw aluminum foil over here. It's aluminum foil, but we still refer to it often as tin foil.
Gritty horror survival that was the original COD Zombies mode. None of this Warzone armor plating stuff we have in Black Ops 7. The creator has been working on this game on his own for 4 years now, and there's finally a playable demo on the Steam page. Of course, there will be multiplayer too, which is fantastic news because co-op Zombies is peak. Remember camping the catwalk under Reese with your friends? Top 10 multiplayer gaming memory for sure. The full game is supposedly releasing later this year, so definitely keep an eye out for this one. It obviously isn't quite the finished product yet, but as someone who used to love and still likes zombies, I'm really excited by this project, and I can definitely see the potential. If you're new, welcome to the bonfire, you're safe here, follow me for more gaming recommendations.
This controller does something unlike any other you've
It's 3D printed.
ever furiously gripped, so your days as a controller scrub in a world dominated by mice might just be over. Placing your thumb down on the touch capacitive hexagon transforms the controller into a hybrid mouse-like experience with 2 high-precision gyros promising pixel-perfect accuracy, ultra-low latency, and no acceleration or smoothing. After a short adjustment period, you'll be able to hit or miss all your shots just as poorly as you could on a mouse, Bronze Gang Gang. That floaty feeling you've come to expect from gyro aiming is completely absent here. Now, this isn't their first iteration. The Alpaca V1 from Input Labs adds USB-C, wireless support, which was iffy at best, and a perfectly adequate size right joystick next to the built-in scroll wheel. Speaking of building things in, you're free to modify, solder, 3D print, and Frankenstein anything onto this controller to suit your individual needs, with its open source firmware providing the backbone for future customization. Another favorite way to use it is navigating in VR, giving you mouse level control over the system without being tethered to a desk. Overall, it's a pretty baller controller, even with its pointy 3D printed outer shell. But for a cool €196 for a fully kitted out V1, it's definitely aimed at the niche nerdy tinkerers out there.
Nice little controller.
This little cat is the key to building lots of affordable, long-range Meshtastic nodes that allow you to communicate with your friends even if the grid goes down. This is the Nibble, an open-source, low-cost Meshtastic node I designed for beginners so that anybody can make lots of them for cheap. I created and open sourced this design as part of my presentation on Meshtastic at Chaos Communication Congress.
I've wanted to go to Chaos Communication Congress for so many years.
Giant German hacker conference I got to speak at last year. The files for the Nibble are free on our GitHub, so you can download them, order your own circuit boards in whatever color you want, and manufacture as many as you want for less than $20 each. The Nibble's easy to mount inside of a 3D printed case or even just a PVC pipe, so if you want to build a Meshtastic powered weather station, then this thing is perfect. The cost of building these nodes goes down the more you make, so if you want to kickstart your local Meshtastic network, teach a class, or even just build a shitload of nodes, check out our GitHub for everything you need. Since I open sourced this design, teachers and activists have already been using it to make their own Nibbles to teach beginners about off-grid communication. If you want to make your own, or if you're getting stuck, make sure to subscribe and also check out our Discord server at nugget.dev.
Nice little device there.
Washington State is moving towards banning employers from forcing the microchipping of their employees.
Wait, was this a thing? I knew people were chipping themselves, but employers were chipping employees?
Now, of course, I'm not aware of any employers that actually are mandating microchipping. But
yeah, I wasn't aware of them either.
In the popular science article above, they're just trying to get ahead of a problem that doesn't necessarily exist yet, but they just want to get ahead of it. So there's the bill, HB 2303.
I'm for it.
The fly brain that was uploaded into a computer isn't actually conscious, but not why you think. To catch you up, a startup claims they took an existing brain scan of a fly and then ran it in a computer connected to a virtual fly body. And then it did things that a fly would do, like grooming itself and being drawn to food. But I've now learned a lot more about what they actually did and the stark limitations involved. The virtual fly brain is basically one of these from Black Mirror. It's a snapshot of a virtual copy of someone. It does not grow and change and evolve over time. It's just one agonizing moment of experience played on loop. The virtual fly brain is not a continuous evolving mind. It's a simplified model of a snapshot of a fly brain, meaning it's really just reflecting basic sensory motor instincts. They're using those instincts to drive AI neural network models which control the virtual fly body based on AI virtual neural networks that can tell it what it should be seeing. So there's already some additional AI involved to make this whole thing work. It's as if you trained an AI to use a robot arm, and then you use the motor neuron signals of your brain to tell the AI when to move the arm. Not just a virtual fly brain controlling a virtual fly body, because the neural network controllers for the fly body were already trained to make the body act like a fly. They still did detect the correct virtual neural activity for behaviors like grooming, feeding, foraging, and fleeing, but they did not create a fully functional virtual fly brain. They used a simplified model of the connections of a fly's brain. Which means it's missing a lot of the basic biophysics of neuronal activity. In particular, neuroplasticity and learning. So this snapshot can really only display basic instinctual behaviors and can't learn in a biophysically meaningful way, which means it's not going to evolve in a biophysically meaningful way. You and I are constantly evolving, not just because our neurons are changing state from one moment to the next, because they are growing and evolving in response to those states and the rest of the biophysics in our brains. Neurons are not the only things in your brain. So I think this virtual fly brain is behavioral but not conscious. It's really just one of these.
Okay, what is this?
So this game only exists because the developer refused to fix a bug, and it might be the most ridiculous game I've ever seen. So a German indie developer working on a GTA clone encountered a physics glitch that kept pushing his character backward every time he shot. But instead of fixing it, he put the character in a chair and posted a clip online that went viral. But for the last 8 years, that project has been mostly dormant, until the team behind Goat Simulator took it over and turned it into an arena shooter. It has you and your friends that never want to leave their office chairs, and you're fighting for your life against sentient office appliances. So the whole office turns into a skate park with you grinding on desks and furniture as you fight. And if that's not enough, there's a PvP mode where you can face off against each other. This game is called Last Man Sitting, and it's coming to PC on March 31st, but there's a free demo so you could try it out right now.
Yes, we're trying it, okay? What'd you think was gonna happen? Wait, did I click it? No, I didn't click it.
Wikipedia is now a gacha game. Japanese developer Harusugi has developed a game called Wiki Gacha, where the entirety of Wikipedia is now placed in randomized card packs. You are able
Oh, now you decide to open. Guess you had a bunch of updates.
to get many amazing cards such as Roy
Really? You got more stuff?
Sitcom Afterlife, and Language of the Comoros. Ooh, what's this? I got an ultra rare. Let's see what it is. Oh. Ohio. Of course, with my luck, I get a COVID-19 card that's in Ohio. You can even use the cards you unlocked in a battle mode to defeat a boss, which is another unique Wikipedia entry. But make sure you're prepared, as cards only have one use per battle. What cards did you get from your polls? Leave your best one in the comments.
Just give me a sec. I'm getting that game installed. So it's a gotcha game. Okay, so that's installing now. There we go.
We abducted a human. We probed him. I woke up 3 days later with broken ribs. His name was Chuck Norris.
One of our scouts shot a stray German shepherd dog. A single human in a black suit appeared. He killed my whole squad because of a puppy. Those missions. They made us believe there were hot single aliens in my area. I walked right into a minefield. One of the humans screamed, "Keep one alive! I need to pack a punch!" I've been running in circles for hours. These humans are crazy. One of them hid in a box and killed my whole crew. He said his name was Solid Snake. They invited us to a peace barbecue. They waited until the end of the meal to tell us we were eating our fallen comrades. I hid under the chains to escape. When they found out, they actually started lining up just to shit on my face. They made a campfire with our fallen soldiers to grill marshmallows. We had to bury sugar bags. We let him introduce himself for the invasion. He just shat on their general's boots and picked it up to play with them. I came back from the front line and my ship was gone. This Karen called the authorities because I was ruining the aesthetics. Uplifted confessions. And drop your ideas in the comments, or I'll probe your cat. I'm not joking.
Really? What kind of feed were you on?
The paranoid.
Oh, we already saw that.
I'm here at the Lenovo booth with iFixit, showing off their new...
Oh yeah, I saw the interposer that they have for the new type of memory, the iCam, so that way it's actually replaceable.
ThinkPad design that gets a 10 out of 10 on the iFixit repairability score. And the thing that stuck out to me the most is they have figured out a way to make the low-power DDR RAM, the LPCAM2 RAM, no longer soldered to the motherboard. So they have this little shim board. It's not pogo pins, it's little, like, spring fingers.
Nice.
It's an interposer between the motherboard and the RAM itself, which makes it easily user swappable and upgradable, which is amazing. We've all been waiting for this for a long time. Now we need to get other manufacturers to do the same.
The problem, though, is, yes, it'll be user replaceable, but is it going to be like the GPU platform back in the day when it was like, oh, you'll be able to upgrade your GPU in your laptop with the MXM platform, but nobody ever did because they never really, you know, had GPU upgrades in MXM and they kind of didn't really push that standard, but yeah.
Well, this is unexpected, but Steam has now responded to the lawsuit from the New York Attorney General claiming that Steam is using Dota, CS2, and TF2 to promote illegal gambling through video games.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
These cases hold real-world value, and its Steam response, most importantly, they mentioned Magic the Gathering and Labubu in the same sentence, which is surreal. But to get to the actual meat and potatoes, Steam expresses that trading...
Yeah, they were like, they're trying to say that it's gambling, and they're like, this is no more gambling than Pokemon and all those other things, and that if you're going to go after us, then you're going to have to go after all these other things. And I think they have a fair argument.
Card games...
Because, look, as much as I, laugh about how expensive all these skins are and how much people spend money, they have no effect on the gameplay.
Like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering are no different in that logic, because you can open them with a random chance of getting something good that technically holds real-world value on the secondary market, and the loot boxes are just a modern version of that, because there is no advantage you gain from having a red Karambit besides drip, so it doesn't really make sense to only punish Valve for something that has existed for years.
Right.
But the New York Attorney General proposed to Steam even more to remove the ability to trade items altogether through the Steam marketplace, which is an insane proposal and won't fix the problem, because how is this going to get rid of gambling?
And they wanted to change the system worldwide.
Open boxes. This is just going to increase gambling, and it will increase account trading. Also, again, Pokemon and Magic are no different, because you can go to people and just sell your cards for money. What, are you going to ban trading cards altogether? But more concerningly, however the fuck that's possible in this case, is that the New York Attorney General proposed to Steam that they should collect more user data on the off chance that someone in New York is using a VPN, and additional verification checks for age inbuilt to Steam, which...
You remember how I was talking about in my YouTube video that the whole idea of they care about our data and that's really all to protect the kids, but we're supposed to collect more data to be able to know if it's a kid using it? It's not about the kids. It's never about the kids. It's about creating a pipeline so we have more data to basically feed into the machine.
By the way, would mean that Steam would have to implement worldwide data collection and age verification to check if somebody is using a VPN that happens to be from New York. I'm sorry to ask questions here, but how the fuck does it help when Steam has my data to prevent gambling laws from being broken in New York? That is on a different fucking continent than me, man. And Steam says that while they respect the New York's laws, they also call out that New York is asking something that goes beyond what laws state and beyond New York itself, and call out the bullshit at the end where the New York Attorney General claims that games cause real-world violence, which of course is bullshit.
I'm tired of people saying that video games cause real-world violence. I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I'm tired of this. We heard this for years. You know, that rock and roll music, it causes violence. You know, that Grand Theft Auto, it causes violence. Look, my mother was one of those parents that was, at first worried about, Grand Theft Auto because I grew up at the tail end of the Satanic Panic. But of course, I didn't come from a Christian family, so I didn't have those concerns. And my mom sat back when I asked her for Grand Theft Auto 3. And she's like, okay. How old was I? Like 11, 12, something like that, whatever. A kid. And, she's, sat back and she's like, I'm pretty sure my son knows you shouldn't steal a car and go shoot random people. So she bought the game for me. Yeah. She knows that you can basically have fun with the adult escort in the back and then get your money back. You know exactly what I mean. But I've also never been with an adult escort, and I've also never, shot anyone. So
We all know that. And while I support actions against gambling, the actions that are asked to be taken by Steam will not solve these problems and do not seem like they are intended to solve these problems.
Yeah. I think a lot of these politicians are just so out of touch with a lot of the things they're trying to do.
Nobody thought this day would come, but Nvidia is finally taking Linux seriously. Maybe it's the success of the Steam Deck, or maybe it's the fact that they just want...
They've been taking Linux seriously for a while. Because Nvidia has had to work in the data center. That's why they've been working on the Nvidia GPU drivers for so long. Now we're just starting to really reap the benefits on the desktop side while they've laid the foundation out in the server side.
More money. But the Penguin is now getting the attention of the RTX graphics card folks. They're looking to finally develop enhancements for Linux for both Vulkan and Proton, meaning they're actively wanting to make sure their products actually work and game with Steam on whatever distro you're choosing to use these days. This started nearly 2 years ago when they hired the lead developer for the community Linux drivers, and now it's ramping up, especially as they're looking to launch their own laptop chips later this year. The N1 and N1X processors are going to be a massive update in the notebook space, and the hiring spree looks to help aid them to not just be a Windows-focused device, but also expand into the world of the better operating system. It also wouldn't be foolish to rule out what this could mean for gaming handhelds moving forward. It's just exciting that this means you might be able to plug an NVIDIA card into a Steam machine and not have it have trash support.
I have a 5070 Ti. Like, I don't know why people are like, you know, NVIDIA has been having trash support in Linux. I've been using NVIDIA for the entire life of this desktop. I had a 3070 in it, no issues. 5070 Ti, no issues. Just here playing drag and drop with the website builder. Oh, yeah. Next video, is public school making kids dumber?
Franklin University makes it possible.
Oh, great, ads.
Be unstoppable with a master.
I don't know what's happened.
It's because I opened it up in Discord and I didn't open it up in the browser.
I don't know what's happened to education. It breaks my heart. I wanted to be a teacher since I was in the 4th grade. Now I'm a teacher, and
the FU NVIDIA days were a while ago. Oh yeah.
Every program that you can think of here in our district, and still it feels like we are constantly on fire.
So yesterday I came to the realization my students can't read.
Really, you can't read? Thinking to myself, really, you can't read? Okay, let me see. Open a book. Okay, let's read this page to me. He literally could not read.
What if I told you that every single day kids go to school, they become less intelligent?
What every educator in the field is noticing is a dramatic decline in basic critical reasoning skills and basic literacy skills.
Didn't they say, like, Gen Z is the first generation that they're actually declining in intelligence from the prior generation? Is that trend going to continue?
Public school making kids dumber. Maybe I'm just a crazy old coot at this point, but it seems like recently education has gotten a lot worse. And I don't mean worse in the sense that kids are just a little tiny bit worse at math or they're a little bit worse at reading. No, I'm talking about drastically worse. Like so bad that I think we're at a point where I feel like maybe we should just go ahead and legalize children working in factories to make doorknobs, because I don't know what else they would do. They can't read, they can't write,
Jesus.
They can barely even think. I honestly feel like if I saw a kid roaming the streets, he'd have a better chance of getting into college if I threw a rock at his head instead
They're
of
also
sending him to
losing
public school.
eyesight to see further in front of them as they stare at their phones all day. Jeez. Gen Z is 1999 to 2012. Yeah? They're old enough now that they're in the, world. Also losing, yeah.
For example, if you go to TikTok, which is 100% accurate representation of our culture and society, you will
Sadly.
see so many teachers complaining about students. And I'm not just talking about normal student complaints you may hear, like kids vaping in a bathroom, but complaining about students' abilities to do things.
Proof that kids don't read. I gave out a test today. Somebody saw this key. They saw this key right here that says solving equations by factoring. Student proceeds to, 1, try their best to copy down all the answers on this answer key on their forearm. And then, as I give them the quiz, they look at me and they're confused. They're like, but the answer's not here. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And it was like, oh, I just saw the answer key. I don't even know why they told me they saw the answer key. Like, that's not cheating. But they said, yo, the answer key problems are not the same as the quiz problems. Because I said, my boy, that was the answer key for the work that we did last class.
So apparently the students in this teacher's class have the memory of a hamster because that kid could not remember it.
He could not remember the work that he just did. Like, I'm working with AI over here on a bunch of stuff. I'm reading over what its functions, what it's going through and doing. I can at least remember what it's doing, and I can remember me bitching it out saying, you're going in circles with your logic.
An assignment he did in the previous class. And it's not even just memory and recognition they're struggling with. They're also struggling with literacy, like reading and writing and comprehension, which also, side note, apparently when I write sentences that are structured like it's not X, it's Y, people think AI wrote it, which now that I think
you have no idea how much this happens. So there have been quite a few videos that I have made. So as you know, I make videos on YouTube and then I'll take the clips of there and put it on TikTok. And how it works is I'll make a script. I may take parts of that script, throw it into AI and reflow it. You know, how do I segue into this part better? How do I reword this? You know, little things like that. Like anyone else would do, even if AI is not there, and just, you know, wordsmith things. And people will sit there because I read off the teleprompter and swear that my videos are AI. Or swear that my scripts are entirely AI generated. And I'm like, my guy, AI would mess up my scripts if I let it do the thing.
think about it, is kind of sad that people think I'm not capable of writing a sentence like that.
Yeah!
But anyways, students suck at literacy, reading, writing, comprehension, and here's a video of a teacher doing a phenomenal job explaining that.
This is how bad the literacy crisis really is.
Honestly, I don't think I could have said it better myself. I really don't think I could have. That was great. I think I'm gonna cry. The thing with this though is that this isn't just happening in some singular random classroom somewhere in the country. We're not talking about some little woodland shack in the middle of nowhere, Maine. We are talking about classrooms all over the country. And in your free time, otherwise known as doom scrolling time, you've probably heard teachers say a lot of these same things. And I feel like for a while, we've all kind of known that our education system is a little bit whack, but it really does feel like
I'm a software
recently
engineer and I
something
often
else has
give
been
Prod full access to Git commands on prod branch, no protection. I think it might be good practice. I hate you.
Happening in our public schools. And when I really sat down and started to think about it, I began to wonder what was happening in our schools. I mean, it seems like kids are getting dumber, or at least not smarter. Reading scores are falling, comprehension is getting worse. Kids are struggling to do so many different things. Is it the teachers? Is it the standards? Are kids just lazy? Has AI brain rot finally overtaken the minds of our young and impressionable students? Well, that's probably true, but I'm not sure how much that has to do with everything else we're talking about. Anyways, these are the kinds of questions that I wanted to get answers to, and I wanted to see if public school actually is making kids dumber, or if it's just in my head. And in order to start answering these questions, let's start with the data that we actually have. And we've talked about this a lot on the channel recently, so I won't get mega deep into it, but it is important to add this context. The National Assessment of Educational Progress, or the NAEP, is the closest thing we have to a national objective measure of how kids are learning. It's basically a national assessment of educational progress. You could call it that.
Wow!
2022 results.
Imagine that! I would have never thought that's what they do! Wow!
Were historic. They were like the Michael Jordan flu game.
3:30 this morning, Michael Jordan woke up with flu-like symptoms. He had a stomachache and a headache, and he couldn't go back to sleep.
Kids don't know PEMDAS and keep getting math wrong and fighting me saying that they are right. You mean parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, add, subtract in that order? Like the basics of mathematics? Which you can put into a calculator, and it will tell you that it's, you know, that. I'm doing a master's in biomedical engineering soon at Imperial College London. I wonder if they allow Claude and neural chips.
Like watching Pete Weber bowl.
To claim it, a strike to claim it, and he got it! Who do you think you are? I am!
They were like my puppy actually sleeping through an entire night without waking me up. It was historic. But like in the opposite direction, reading scores for 9-year-olds dropped 5 points compared to 2020. That's the largest decline since testing began in 1990.
Damn!
In 2024, 40% of 4th graders were reading below basic proficiency. And
holy shit!
They were struggling just a tiny little itty bitty bit, but they were full on below basic. That means you could hand a 9-year-old a simple passage and they could not tell you the main point of it. For 8th,
and you know what the worst part is? We're letting a lot of these kids go on to the next grade because, God forbid, we let them get the social stigma of they be held back and their friends move on. I'm sorry, but maybe if you do not advance in your academic studies, you should be held back. Like it or not, I'm tired of the, participation trophy kind of crap. These are American education. Yeah, this is American education. I don't know about European education, but we're kind of a dumpster fire over here. There's some areas that it's better than others, but yeah. I at least went to a decent school, but I also graduated like a decade and a half ago. I'm old. It's fine. Kids these days can rely on when they're older, just needing to update their Neuralink cache.
8th graders, 1/3 now score.
I almost got held back because of my age in first grade. Wait, what?
Ever recorded, and this isn't even just happening.
Fortunately, got that Republican education.
PISA, which is the international version of the NAEP, they also showed reading declines across multiple countries.
Wait, what?
So there's real and measurable data that's showing a lot of suck is going on. But then, with all of that said,
okay, I spoke too soon. It's happening across multiple countries.
That begs the question. Are these declining test scores showing that students themselves are getting dumber, or is there something else going on with public schools? Well, I'm no scientist at all. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near a scientist, but I find it highly improbable that kids have just randomly gotten way dumber over the course of a few generations. I mean, I don't think it's very likely at all that our brains just magically turned into little gremlin brains. That just doesn't seem like that would happen, but I don't know, I'm not a scientist. But I don't think that would happen. That would mean that the only other option is that something's going on with our system.
You're one
so
year
what
younger than
happened
the
to
others.
our schools?
Interesting.
If you're like me, there's a few big moments in recent history that you could point to as maybe things that messed up our whole education system. Maybe something like COVID, where kids were forced to do online
years are not a big
classes,
deal.
or at least pretend like they were. I know some of you played this video in your room while you were playing Fortnite just so your mom wouldn't bother you.
Yeah, excellent. And he did address the notion of mycophobia.
Or you could even go a little bit back before that with the mass introduction of smartphones, which probably to a degree was not great. I don't imagine playing Flappy Bird to a point of having a borderline addiction was good for our kids' health. I feel like that was pretty not good. Well, if you
Yeah, I don't think that smartphones introduced to kids is a really good idea. I think the idea of parenting a kid through a smartphone is a really bad idea, and parents who actually give their kids smart devices are failing as parents. I'm just going to be honest with you. Oh, well, you know, it's so hard to be a parent. Well, it never was supposed to be easy. It's a whole freaking human. There's a responsibility there. How about you actually do things to actually engage them? Build their creativity. I mean, I would never give my kids until, if I gave my kids a phone, it would be a dumb phone for emergency reasons that maybe at most has Snake on it, like we did with the Nokia phone. They can call me, they can T9 text me, and, yeah. But anything more than that? No, you got a full computer for that. You should learn to use a computer.
If you look at the long-term trend lines, the decline didn't start with
junior
COVID, or
high,
it didn't even start with
in high
smartphones.
school, they
It
gave us-
started earlier, and it happened in sections. There was the 1990s plateau. Reading scores stopped improving. After decades of steady gains, the line went flat. This was the era of cable TV, early internet, the beginning of competition for attention. But even with all of that, it was manageable, and kids still read, just a little bit less, like they were opening their books, maybe just a little bit less. Then there was the 2000s.
No, I mean, we were still reading. We had AIM, we had Reddit, we had IRC, we had internet forums. Like, I was reading a lot. It was just on the computer, on the internet. Forums, all that.
2010 to 2013 period. Around this time, this is when smartphones started to become extremely common. Like, I feel like you could go anywhere without seeing a 2-year-old with a smartphone in their hands,
having children.
probably
Oh, I
playing
agree.
Roblox or something, or messing around on the photo booth app, which was a fun app to mess around on, I'm not gonna lie. And this is something that Pew Research actually kept track of. Teen smartphone ownership went from 23% in 2011 to 95% in 2022.
Good God!
Kids started getting more access to smartphones, and they started, you know, smartphoning everywhere.
I did not realize it ballooned that fast.
Stuff, whatever kids did on smartphones. Something else started to decline at the same time. The percentage of 13-year-olds who read for fun almost every day was 35% in 1984. By 2012, it was 27%. By 2023, 14%. So there's a big drop there. There is a big drop of students not reading, not opening their books. Kids aren't reading Frankenstein like they used to. It's crazy.
It's alive. Oh, it's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
So during this time period, during the whole introduction of smartphones and all of that, this is when we really started to see a huge decline in reading and a huge increase in brain rotting, which is great. We all love a good brain rot. Then, of course,
toilet.
The pandemic, a time of remote learning and awful virtual classrooms that I don't think anybody liked. McKinsey estimated students lost 4 to 9 months of learning in math and 5 to 9 months in reading. And so basically what happened during this time is that COVID took an already sucky trend of terrible reading, gave it 4 big old giant scoops of pre-workout, and just let it run wild. So in my opinion, those are the 3 biggest moments over the course of the last 30 to 40 years that have gotten us to where we are now. But as much as I wish we could blame phones or COVID or internet, short form content, as much as I wish we could blame all of that on our current state of illiteracy, that's not the whole story. Our society is actually built to make people dumber.
Yeah, I can believe that.
While I don't think it's necessarily on purpose that our society is built to make people dumber, I don't think we're exactly fighting against it. It's like someone hogtied us to a train track.
It's an attention economy.
Phones and want to call someone to try and escape, but the moment we open up our phones, we forget why we opened our phones, and we go ahead and just start watching reels. And then we get hit by a train. That's what it feels like. Here's what I mean.
Fair enough.
Marianne Wolf is a cognitive neuroscientist at UCLA who spent her career studying how the brain learns to read. And her research revealed something that was kind of initially shocking to me at first, and that was that reading isn't natural. Unlike speech, which humans are wired to do, reading is a cultural invention. We have to build the reading brain. It takes a year to get all the circuits to work in a way where you can make sense of all the doodled lines that make up letters and words. And in order to read, we have to train our brain to have sustained attention, hold multiple ideas at once, and to be patient with complexity. It's like trying to watch the first Wicked movie. You have to suffer a whole lot before anything happens.
Still have never seen it, still don't plan to see
Think
it.
about our current culture of short-form content and what that trains. Novelty seeking, rapid context switching, the expectation of constant stimulation. We want every single moment of our lives to be filled with an endless tide of dopamine, so much so that it could sink the Titanic. Nicholas Carr wrote about this in The Shallows. The brain adapts to whatever environment we give it. Heavy internet use promotes skimming, it trains the eye to jump, scan, and move on. Wolf's research shows that over 80% of college educators now report a shallowing effect on their students' reading comprehension. Students process text faster but retain less. They scan for keywords rather than following arguments. It's like when you talk to someone and you start to zone out, and then after 10 minutes of their emotional trauma dump, you realize the only thing you heard was something about salmonella poisoning. Something like that. I don't know what I said. So at the end of the day, I think our students' brains adapted to an environment that we created outside of school. But then that leads me to another question. If attention is declining outside of school, why isn't school fixing it?
Because we have a bureaucratic problem that they're not allowed to.
But I think we've just chosen the wrong weapon to fight with. To use a classic metaphor that has been used for decades as a form of literary persuasion, we brought a pickle to a gunfight. For decades, American schools have been fighting what educators call the reading wars, which is basically just a war on how you should teach children to read. On one side of the battle, there's phonics, which is the idea that we should teach students how to read based off sounding out letters and words.
You might give kids a list of words with CH like chat and much, and they're expected to read them without you ever having taught the ch sound, right? And then from there, they're kind of expected to figure out that like the C and the H are working together to say ch.
On the other side, there's whole language, the idea that reading is natural, like speech. Immerse kids in books, let them guess words from context and pictures, and the goal is eventually maybe they'll figure it out by looking at a picture and seeing the correlating word and being like, oh, that's what the word says.
I think it's a combination of both.
We need to teach kids to read holistically. Don't worry about the letters, don't worry about the sounds. What does the word as a whole look like, and can use the context to recognize each word in turn?
I'm going to say this as objectively and unbiasedly as possible, but that sounds like a terrible idea. That sounds like the idea that came from the kid I threw a rock at in hopes of getting him into college. The thing is though, in the 1990s, the whole language curriculum dominated. It morphed into what is called balanced literacy, or basically, in other words, another way to make kids dumb. Kenneth Goodman, who was one of whole language's biggest haters, literally called reading a psycholinguistic guessing game. The National Reading Panel reviewed the research in 2000 and concluded that systematic phonics instruction was crucial. And at that point, it seems like the science was pretty clear. And yet, balanced literacy kept spreading like crabgrass. Lucy Calkin's unit of study became commonplace all over the country, despite members of the National Reading Panel writing an open letter calling it woefully inadequate.
Really?
And you know you done messed up when the National Reading Panel uses the word woefully. Like, whoa. I fully think that's bad. I'll be here all night. Emily Hanford's podcast, Soul the Story, documented how this happened, how millions of kids were taught using methods that contradicted decades of cognitive science. But just like the decline of literacy, that's only a part of it. There's also the technology problem. Schools spent billions on tablets, laptops, educational apps. The assumption was that technology would enhance learning, and I don't know about you, but I feel like we all had that one kid who in the computer lab downloaded Minecraft on the computer, and everybody went crazy over it. So I guess in that sense it did enhance something, it just wasn't learning. It was how to survive in night one in Minecraft, which is a...
Yeah, I mean, like, for me, it helped me get into my computer career and everything, but yeah... I don't know if technology needs to be everywhere inside of your curriculum. Sometimes I think that the best lessons are pen and paper. Remove the technology from it.
Fundamental, I should say. It's very fundamental, so it's good we learned that. Anyways, you would think that technology would help students learn how to read, how to write, how to do all of that. Like, my first thought is that this can be very helpful. But Singer and Alexander's 2017 research found that students comprehend text better on paper than on screens.
What was that saying? What was that saying? Vindication!
Which I find really interesting, by the way, because if you're like me, you're probably wondering how can physical books be better than digital text? Like, what is the difference there? It seems like they would both just be, they're just both text.
It has something to do with the actual tactile sensation more so. It's tying into all the senses and the ability that you focus in on that. With the problem with electronics is that you're kind of just staring at a screen and you're able to multitask and do other things. The best compromise I can think of is I do well on e-ink. E-ink displays do pretty well. But there are times where I will tell people I want an actual, like, printout. Give me an actual printout so I can comprehend this.
Last time I mentioned this in one of my videos, people were very curious about why this was the case. So if you are curious...
Like, actually, school has a video game that teaches you words. Reader Rabbit!
Here's a summarization of that study. And you can pause the video if you want.
Key findings from the research include deep comprehension. Print is more effective for tasks requiring a deep understanding rather than just getting the gist. Yep. Speed versus accuracy. Students read significantly faster online, but often perform better on comprehension tests when using paper. Yep. Physicality. The physical nature of paper, such as the ability to see multiple pages or landmarks, helps with memory, whereas scrolling disrupts it. Yeah, I definitely can understand that. Digital illusion. Students frequently overestimate the comprehension levels when reading on screens. Context. While print is better for longer academic texts, the medium matters less for reading, which is done for pleasure.
I want to read that because it's a lot to read. And then on top of that, there's testing. Standardized tests create pressure. Teachers are evaluated based on scores. Kids learn to pass tests just by filling in bubbles, eliminating wrong answers, and managing their time. Which, by the way, I'm one of the kids who learned how to eliminate answers. All my eliminating answers, kids, raise your hands. I got like every question wrong. But really, let's be honest. Learning how to take a test isn't the same thing as learning how to think. So you have a flawed curriculum,
right,
screen-based instruction, and assessment pressure.
And this actually explains why there's a lot of people that they struggle so hard with IT and cybersecurity. I've seen it firsthand with a lot of the new people coming in, because you don't come in with a multiple choice question. You now have an open-ended answer, and you now have to think critically. And if you've dealt with me, I'm not the type of person to feed you the answer. I will be the person that at most leads you to the answer. And then I may not always be the person to confirm your answer, because I want you to learn when you're, doing that early on. And it'll be like, well, I think it's this. Why do you think it's that? What's your evidence supporting it? Do you still think that's the case? Have you, looked into any other options of what could be causing that? Get them to actually think about critical thinking skills. And that's why I think a lot of people that are coming into IT and cybersecurity are having a real tough time, is education has really failed them, because it teaches them to basically remove bad answers rather than think critically, where you're not always going to have that answer. But yeah.
Those are 3 big structural problems, and obviously no individual teacher can fix any of them. So to circle back to my very original question, is public school making kids dumber? In my opinion, the answer is yes, but it's not just schools. While it's easy to say that public school is a main driving force in our poor education, and maybe that is a very, very big part of it, schools don't exist in a vacuum. They exist inside of a culture, society, and system that we created. And obviously there's been a lot of change in our culture over the last 30 to 40 years. Kids today grow up with constant digital stimulation from birth, reduced tolerance for boredom, attention spans shaped by algorithms before they ever even looked at a book. I mean, we literally have babies going crazy over hearing the numbers 6 and 7 said together. So maybe the issue isn't inherently public school.
Shut up! Shut up! I know some of you are going to say it, and you're going crazy about it yourself.
Schools, but more so that public schools haven't adapted to our culture. And just to clarify, that's not me saying that culture is good in this sense, or that schools should lower their standards or make things easier. but they should adapt. I'm just saying that there are multiple factors that have led us to where we are, and if schools don't adapt, that's not going to help students. And the reality of it is that schools operate inside of culture, not the opposite way around. For example, when's the last time you heard of some megatrend come directly out of a school system? It just doesn't happen. And honestly, I'm sure that everyone will have a million, billion different ideas on how we can change things for the better. And the more people that have ideas and share these ideas, the more likely we are to change culture. And honestly, I think that's totally possible, especially with how many people are starting to talk about how terrible Gen Alpha's literacy rates are, which I talk about that more in this video right here. So go ahead and check that out. But other than that, thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Alright, what's the next video that we have in the queue over here? A TikTok from Hassan Minhaj from HBX. Okay.
The level of profound science.
What scares you?
What scares me most?
Yeah.
The level of profound science illiteracy in people who have control over laws and legislation of the land.
Preach!
That scares me the most, because that is a recipe for the unraveling of an informed democracy. And if that permeates around the world, it could dismantle civilization. And I don't think I'm exaggerating.
No, you're not.
I say that because the methods and tools of science are the way. It's the best way we've ever come up with as humans to establish what is objectively true in the world. And while you're establishing what is objectively true, you also end up establishing what is objectively false. If people have different belief systems, that's fine in a country that protects that. But if you have a belief system that I don't have, and you rise to power over laws and create a law based on your belief system, that is a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for the ending of the American system of governance.
What scares you?
It's a good way to put it. Alright, what's this video from? God damn it. TikTok is getting derpy. For some reason, I have to, like, open it up with a different browser that has the cookies going a different... Okay, this video's not available. Okay. So, let's go to the next video. The new chip war from Anastasi in Tech. Alright.
Something colossal is rising from the mountains. A building so large it has its own power grid, its own water supply.
Data centers.
Thousands of machines that cost more than a fighter jet, each. What gets made there is so scarce right now that retailers are limiting how much you can buy. And I bet you've never heard of the company building it, but today they control the most critical supply chain in AI.
TSMC?
Every GPU NVIDIA chips. Every model you've ever used. Every data center being built right now. Whether you know their name or not, you're already paying for it. And it's getting worse and worse. I am a chip design engineer who spent over a decade in semiconductor industry, and this story is unlike anything I've ever seen. And everyone should understand what's happening, because the future of AI and the global economy depends on this. This story starts with the thing sitting in your pocket right now. Your phone, your laptop, your next upgrade. All of
I have nothing in my pockets.
Has less memory than it was supposed to. Simply because one of the biggest memory companies on Earth killed its entire consumer product line. Because they had something far more valuable to sell.
Micron.
The greatest irony of the AI boom that we are building the most powerful AI models in human history. But it appears that soon we won't be able to afford the devices to use these models. But to understand how we got here, we have to go back. And it all starts with a fire. The year is 2012. A fire tears through one of the most advanced semiconductor factories on Earth. The kind of fire that destroys clean rooms worth billions. Months of production gone. Overnight. The stock collapses. Customers start calling competitors. Orders get cancelled. Debt accumulates. The industry watches. Nobody moves to help. The government steps in with emergency loans. The kind you only need when the alternative is disappearing entirely. With a destroyed fab, vanishing customers, and a mountain of debt, it looks like it's over. But fast forward to today, and this same company holds the entire AI industry in its hands. You know Samsung, you know TSMC and Intel. SK Hynix has been running the memory world while everyone else got the headlines. This is the second largest memory company on Earth, and for the most of its existence, living entirely in someone else's shadow. Same country, same industry, similar products, but always second. Nearly bankrupt in 2012, written off, not even worth acquiring. And yet, while the whole industry was chasing processors and GPUs, SK Hynix made one bet that the rest of the industry considered too niche, too risky, and too expensive. They bet everything on a technology with no real market yet, that most engineers consider too complex to build at scale. The breakthrough technology that the world would not need, until suddenly it needed nothing else. To understand the genius of the bets they made, we first have to remind ourselves what the memory actually is. Every device you've ever used runs on two kinds of
HBM?
Your SSD stores your photos, your files, your operating system. Everything that survives when you turn the power off. And DRAM, random access memory, the place where everything active lives right now. Every tab you have open, every calculation your processor is running, every frame your GPU is rendering. DRAM doesn't store things permanently. It holds them electrically in billions of tiny capacitors.
Right.
Think of each one as a tiny basket. It either holds a charge or it doesn't. A 1 or 0. That's it. But the moment the power is gone, the bucket's empty.
Right.
Everything disappears. But while it runs, it's the fastest, most critical layer of your entire system.
Right.
Well, and this is kind of poetic, really. The most critical memory in AI cannot remember a thing. For decades, the playbook was simple. Make the bucket smaller, fit more on the chip, get more memory per wafer. And this worked beautifully until AI arrived, all at once and way too fast. Training a large language model requires moving petabytes of data back and forth between memory and compute, billions of times per second.
Right.
And the bottleneck isn't compute anymore, it's the memory that feeds it. We engineers call it the memory wall. This is a fundamental limit between how fast the processor can compute and how fast the memory can support.
You know what's interesting is that years ago, the issue wasn't actually memory speed. It was actually the bus between the memory and the CPU. There was this big deal about like front side bus speeds, quick path interconnects, hypertransport, all these different things. It was the big technology of like, yeah, your CPU's fast, but your motherboard is a little bit more important, getting all that data between everything. And then we had onboard memory controllers and all that. Now it's just kind of interesting that now the memory is the bottleneck. At one point it was the bus, the storage. Now it's the memory, which historically was the fastest part of the system.
Supplied with data. And DDR5, the fastest consumer memory ever made, hits that wall catastrophically. Because its architecture was never designed for this. Not even close. So something had to change. In 2008, AMD and SK Hynix made a radical bet. They understood that the memory interface wasn't a speed problem. It was an architecture problem, and no amount of DDR was going to fix it. So they did something very elegant in its simplicity, but borderline insane in its execution. The idea was to stop routing data across the circuit board and place the memory directly beside the processor.
Yep.
Not closer, adjacent, essentially touching. Well, the math was compelling, for sure. But manufacturing was somewhere between extraordinary difficult and impossible. But Hynix decided to build it anyway. At the same time, Samsung was chasing Apple. Micron was watching from America, convinced the market wasn't there yet. Hynix spent years in the dark, failing, iterating, failing again, on a product with no guaranteed market, no potential customer, and no guarantee it would ever work at scale. They called it high bandwidth memory.
Oh, so I was right, it was HBM.
At this point, it was still not obvious that this innovation will change GPUs forever. But it did. Still, no one is talking about what is inside. Let's take 12 memory chips, called dice. Stack them. Now drill thousands of microscopic vertical tunnels through every single layer. Through those tunnels, the stack connects with solder balls so small each one is narrower than a red blood cell. The result is a memory tower 750 micrometers thick. That's HBM. Now, this tower is very complicated to manufacture. Imagine you are building a 12-floor tower, where every floor must be perfect. If you have just one flaw at any floor, you have to demolish the entire building. That's the madness of high-bandwidth memory manufacturing. And the numbers make it merciless. If you have 90% yield per die, which is already excellent by industry standards, across 12 layers, that yield drops under 70%.
Jeez!
This means 1 in 3 completed stacks gets scrapped before it even leaves the factory. You need roughly twice the wafers just to reach the same bit output as standard DRAM. And there is a second problem, because high-bandwidth memory cannot use whole silicon just for memory bits. It has to keep some distance around for thousands of through-silicon tunnels. And this means less space for memory cells, even before you start stacking. So every HBM wafer already produces 3 times fewer bits than a standard DRAM wafer. Now, when we move to the most anticipated upgrade in the history of memory, HBM4, now we stack not 12, but 16 of them.
Jeez.
That number pushes to 4 times less bits per wafer. You see, HBM has a huge appetite for silicon. Now consider this. A single NVIDIA Rubin GPU uses 8 those stacked memories. So one rack has a memory amount equivalent of the memory in 30,000 smartphones. The biggest problem is that HBM and DDR5 are produced by the same companies on the same equipment, which means each time a memory company decides to shift capacity to HBM, they are physically taking it away from your laptop, your smartphone, and your PC. And that's a disaster. That's the reason why memory prices are up 638% year over year. And that's happening because HBM doesn't just eat up more silicon and has insane demand, it simultaneously destroys the supply itself. 2 shortages, 1 cause. And for the first time...
Yeah, and the AI bubble collapse cannot come soon enough. The supply, yeah. Every time I look at RAM prices, I curse Sam Altman's mom for not swallowing.
In the history of this industry, HBM is tight and DRAM is...
Wait, why is the audio not working?
Front, left.
Oh, hold on. It's my setup that decided it.
Front, left.
site simultaneously. Next, we will break down the solution to this disaster, when the shortage will end, and who will walk away from this richest. But first, I've been using this new AI tool lately, and I'm very excited to share with you. Most AI tools give you advice. You ask, they answer. But the actual work is on you, while Manos actually does the work for you. You give it a goal, it autonomously plans the steps, browses the web, writes code, creates files, and delivers a finished result, a report, a website, a presentation. Not text telling you how to build one, the thing itself. My favorite feature is called skills. And this is where it gets really powerful. Imagine you figure out the workflows that works. Maybe it's how you structure research or how you build client reports. And then you have to redo it from scratch every single time.
It's Claude with extra
hours
steps.
Of effort every time. Skills solves that. After completing any task you're happy with, you just type /skill-task. Manos analyzes the entire process and packages it into reusable, shareable AI-powered assets. No coding, no terminal, you just type in one command and you get the same process every time for you and your entire team. You can build skills through conversation, import them from GitHub, or use pre-built ones from Manos directly. Essentially, you're turning your best work into something that runs itself. Make sure to give it a try through the link below or by scanning the QR code here. Now imagine you spent a decade building this innovative technology while nobody was watching. And suddenly, every major tech company needs what you have. Google, Amazon, Meta. But nobody needs it more desperately than NVIDIA and AMD. Every AI GPU they ship requires it. Every data center being built depends on it. Their chips literally cannot leave the factory without it, so they started making calls. Samsung first, but their yields were catastrophic, not even close. Micron next, promising but not ready yet. And then finally they called Hynix, and they picked up the call with something nobody else had. And in this one moment, a decade of quiet, stubborn preparation became a near monopoly on the most valuable memory market ever created. They locked in the majority of NVIDIA's supply. AMD's too. Just imagine, every time NVIDIA ships a GPU, there are actually 8 Hynix stacks inside it. And those are making up over 50% of the cost of the entire packaged chip. And suddenly, the company nobody talked about became the company nobody can live without. But
VTuber, how's it going, bud?
They had to build. While the shortage was already burning, they started to build 3 factories simultaneously. The first one, M15X, Changju, South Korea. One of the most complex construction projects on Earth. The clean room alone, over 100,000 square meters, with ceilings 30 meters high, larger than anything Hynix ever built. Inside, vibration isolation so precise that a truck passing on the street outside cannot disturb the high-precision equipment inside. Then they've built a water purification system, purifying 10 million gallons of water per day. Because the water for the factory has to be cleaner than clean. Just imagine, one dust particle and billions of memory cells gone. And have you seen the machines inside this factory? Many people heard about ASMA lithography machines with a single machine approaching.
Feel better, but I know how that feels. I got out of a year or so of burnout, and I'm finally getting back to my projects.
This is the TC Bonder, a machine that can stack one die on top of another with heat and pressure. And they can do that so precisely that they can fuse 16 layers of silicon without cracking a single one. Each TC Bonder costs tens of millions of dollars, and a single HBM factory needs 100 of them. Are you still wondering why memory gets so expensive? Every one of these tools exists at the absolute edge of what manufacturing equipment can do. everyone takes months to order, months to calibrate before yield stabilize.
The market is
and every week of delay
definitely
costs
effed.
in demand you could not fill. Right now, they are targeting 60,000.
Especially if you're in the entry-level side of things.
Speed.
It's
Still,
very
that's
tough
not
and competitive.
And then there is young.
Mid and senior, it's a little bit easier.
It's 4 fabs, over 4 million square
effed.
meters, and it's 6 times the capacity of M15X. That's a $410 billion commitment to building the world's most important AI memory hub south of Seoul. Plus, they're building a brand new packaging facility, breaking ground in April 2026. That's 3 construction projects in parallel. But behind it, the risk no one is talking about, because a memory factory has to run at full utilization to make economics work, to make these huge upfront investments to pay off, which is why nobody builds speculatively, which is why the shortage always arrives before the supply does. And that's why the world is waiting and the memory is getting more expensive. And while they build, the next generation of AI GPUs is already on the way. NVIDIA's Rubin, AMD's Instinct MI400, built by rival companies racing against each other. And both of them utterly dependent on the same supplier. SK Hynix locked 70% of NVIDIA's HBM4 orders for Rubin. And that's not a coincidence. That's what a decade of preparation looks like. The current version, HBM3E, powering today's Blackwell GPUs, delivers 1.2 terabytes per second per stack. HBM4 doubles it, over 2 terabytes per stack, 8 stacks per GPU. And Hynix enters HBM4 dominant. M15X ramping, Yongin on the way, the company that almost burned down in 2012 is now defending everything it built. But this time Samsung is not watching from sidelines. Winning HBM3 made Hynix a king, but HBM4 is where they will find out if they can stay one. Samsung spent HBM3 getting it wrong. Yields were catastrophic. They had to discount their own chips just to stay in the conversation. That experience is humbling. You don't forget it. And Samsung didn't. They went back, rebuilt the process, and their HBM4 numbers look competitive. They may even manage to qualify before Hynix on many configurations. And then there is Micron, still fighting, with a lot of support from US government, throwing everything at HBM4.
I still can't believe the US government's supporting them while they fucked us over.
Through near bankruptcy, through fire, could narrow in a single product generation. One yield breakthrough by Samsung, one qualification win by Micron, and the monopoly Hynix almost died building starts to crack. In 2022, every memory company did the rational thing. Cut investments, stop building, reduce production. Because last time they were overbuilt, they nearly went bankrupt. The memory industry had lived through this cycle so many times. PC boom, then smartphone supercycle, cloud build-out. It's constant boom, bust, rebuild, repeat. And they have to survive through these cycles. And the same cycle repeats again. So through 2024 into 2025, the whole industry was healing. And then AI story detonated. Nearly 2,000 new AI data centers planned globally. Google, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, all saying the same thing. Send us everything you have. We will pay whatever it costs. OpenAI's Stargate project alone will consume up to 40% of global
And they don't have the electricity to run a lot of these data centers is the
project, 40% of memory. The industry that just had stopped building suddenly couldn't build fast enough. So when does it end? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I think the answer is not what anyone wants to hear. Not until 2028. In fact, there are 2 ways out of this. One, build more fabs, more capacity. And the second one is to innovate, to be able to produce more bits per wafer. And actually both are happening. New factories from all three players are under construction, but none of them will produce any meaningful outputs before the late 2027. But the faster gains won't come from new buildings. They will come from migration to more advanced process nodes. SK Hynix and Samsung are currently moving production from 1 beta to 1 gamma process nodes. And that will allow them to produce 30% more memory from the same wafer.
Jeez.
That is a real lever being pulled right now, and all three companies are racing to migrate as fast as yield learning allows. But even that takes time. If you watched my previous episodes on semiconductor factories, you know that new nodes means new tools, new chemistry, calibration, and that means lower yields for months before they recover. Well, will prices go down once new factories come alive? I would not bet on it.
Nah, I
The
wouldn't
upfront
either.
investments and the demand is simply too high. And we are not even at the peak of the cycle yet. So, who benefits the most from Ramageddon? Obviously not you and not me. SK Hynix is the obvious winner. But here is a twist no one expected. Another winner is actually Samsung, the one who lost HBM3, the whole generation. Samsung accidentally cornered the present because the whole industry shifted capacity to HBM, away from consumer memory. And Samsung never stopped producing it. And now DDR5 is up over 600%. And Samsung is making insane margins. The
Yep.
winners are actually both of them, but for completely opposite reasons. And the rest of us, we are just paying for it. Every time you upgrade your phone, every time your laptop costs more than it should, that's the invisible tax of the AI.
Every
boom.
time you
And it's
upgrade
not
your
going
desktop.
That's a super cycle, bigger than anything that industry's seen before. And we are not at the peak yet. Now you know why. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and watch this episode next about the most ambitious data center project ever attempted, or this deep dive on the most advanced microchip technology on Earth. Love.
All right, let's see. Next video. Oop, that's my VS Code. What's this?
Oh no! Google is replacing the home speaker software with Google Gemini, and it sucks! What do I do? Let's ask. Hey Jarvis, what do I do?
You should host it locally.
That's right, we host it locally! This is the Satellite One by Future Proof Homes. It works off an ESP32, integrates perfectly with Home Assistant, and does far less spying.
Okay, so what is this? So it's an ESP32 tied into what? Because obviously an ESP32 doesn't have an AI processor built in. Multi-sensors, ESP32. I'd have to look into that a little bit more. I'm curious where the processing is done for it. Local voice control through AI base station, okay. Huh. Alright. Next video, let's see. Pringles at Costco? Wait, what is this? Zachary's Thin
Hey, you want
Mints?
some Thin Mints? No. Let me get them Thick Mints.
Yeah! Pringles at Costco.
Here, and look what they got going on in the chip aisle. They got these Pringles, double XL tube, and it's $12.99. Look at this.
Holy shit!
Look at this thing of Pringles that you can get.
That's not a can of Pringles. That's a wizard staff of Pringles.
here at Costco for $12.99. I'm not. Oh, it's a 4-canner. Okay, I guess that makes sense. But my gosh, just the obnoxious nature of this.
Because that's a wizard staff.
Like, this is crazy. All right, Pringles doing big things with Costco. $12.99. Not a bad deal, honestly.
I don't really have chips much, but I would totally do that. To have a wizard staff.
I went to a Korean furry convention, and they're all living in the future. First, furries here have a device that lets their friends know where they are.
Wait, what?
Open almost every hotel room door and show the user's location. They also include a holder where people share cards of their persona. They're free to take, and you can even leave one of your own or a sticker as a trade. I saw these in almost every hotel room door, but I still don't know what they're actually called.
The hell?
What's the name of this thing? Please let me know in the comments. Next, when you meet someone, they'll give you one of these. A name card. These miniature art prints contain their name, contact information, and basic details about their persona. Trading name cards is a common and fun way to introduce yourself.
I'm not a furry!
There's the group dance, which is the highlight.
But what the hell?
Unlike Western conventions, which feel more like a music festival, Asian cons often feature a large, choreographed fursuit dance. These dances require weeks of practice and a team of coordinators to put it all together.
They're spreading!
100 fursuiters dancing in unison.
Alright, let's see. Next up, we got HBX with a video over here. Hold up. Copy link.
AI-powered towers along both borders that decide who looks suspicious without a single human watching. According to Defense One,
oh,
DHS
this is not good.
148 surveillance towers with AI this year and adding 50 more, and that's just the start. Federal contracts show 542 new towers are in the pipeline, backed by $2.7 billion Congress already approved. The AI is trained to classify everything it sees, who you are, what you're carrying, where you're going.
This is not good.
Independently dispatch drones to intercept you. 2,000 miles of AI, and no one has to be watching for you to be watched. The U.S. government...
Oh, that is not cool. That's not cool. I think we're getting a little bit too comfortable with AI. Okay, what's this?
This is a 2-liter soda bottle before it's been expanded.
Oh, yeah.
Use it to make a simple DIY lava lamp. First, I'll fill up this preform with vegetable oil, a little bit more than half.
It always blows people's mind when they find out that's what a soda bottle looks like before it's expanded.
The color of your bath because they contain a dye as well as baking soda, citric acid, and sodium carbonate, meaning it dissolves in water. Notice how when I add this tablet to the vegetable oil, it sinks but doesn't start reacting. Next, I'll add a bit of water, which is more dense than the oil, so it will sink slowly to the bottom. Once it finally comes into contact with the tablet will start to fizz and change the color of the water. At first, nothing seems to really be happening here. However, as more and more gas accumulates, larger bubbles will break through the surface and rise to the top. If you look closely, these rising gas bubbles will bring red water drops with them. However, once these drops get to the top, the gas will escape out the surface, causing the water drops to once again be heavier and sink. Over time, it starts to become more and more beautiful, and this cycle of rising and falling water drops will continue until the tablets completely dissolve. At that point, all the water drops will eventually sink back to the bottom.
I mean, it's not as cool as a regular lava lamp because it will die, but yeah.
Someone made a link shortener that's entire purpose is to make the shortened link look as suspicious as possible.
Oh, God!
My website in here and click Make It Creepy. I get like secure.click.link/something or verify.web-safe.link. Mess around with this. Let me know your favorites. I'm just picturing the person that developed this just had to go register a bunch of the shadiest domains possible to put it in here to like you get roulette on like shady links. Sound off. What's like the funniest one you get when you go?
Oh, that is great. That is great. All right, let's see. Copy link. Got another one. It's annoying that TikTok gets stupid about some of the links. Okay, what is this? Editing 4K video.
Apple, and I'm going to show you how crazy this computer is for creators for only $600. I've already got Final Cut running here, and I've done a sample project for an Instagram video or a TikTok. I've got 2 4K clips as well as a 4K clip from my iPhone. These are clips from my cinema camera, my FX2, and I even did a voiceover using the MacBook Neo's microphones. Check this out. Check 1, 2. This is a sample. I'm recording right with the microphones on the MacBook Neo. Check 1, 2, 3. No drop frames, no stuttering. I can scrub. I can do whatever I want. I can edit an entire video with this computer. But that's not all. I also have DaVinci Resolve running at the exact same time. And here I have 2 4K clips that are just playing simultaneously. And I can scrub and I can play back and watch this. Full 24 frames per second playback. Want to get even crazier? Let's go. We're going to open up Lightroom and we can do some photo editing if we want. We can just drop this.
I mean, that's nice and all, but let's be honest. Those are very small clips. Those are very small clips. Like, if you're taking 4K video and taking small video, clips of that, that's not using as much memory as you would think. Put a full YouTube video in. Have it show us a full YouTube video being edited. Then I might be impressed. Don't get me wrong. It's not bad, but I mean, I can do the same thing with some of my other laptops that are a little less expensive on Linux too, so.
Do a little exposure stuff. And I'm not done, okay? Because at the same time while I'm doing this, I'm also running the Gen 2 Studio display. And I've got Apple Music, I've got Kino running, and Maps, all on this $600 machine. And you might be thinking, well, Patrick, what about web browsing? Oh yeah, by the way, this entire time, Chrome has been running too, with 2 YouTube videos, Amazon, and Canva.
They weren't running at the same time. They were just in the background. So they were suspended. Have the videos play while you're doing the editing. I mean, look. I have a Mac. I use it at work, okay? I know how that thing works. It'll throw things in the background when you're not actively using it, and it also will compress the memory in the background. But, at the same time, that little guy will still not be able to handle my workload. How do I know? The LLMs that I use are 17 gigabytes alone. So, do with that what you will.
$600. This is the new Mac.
Like, don't get me wrong, $600, it's nice, but if you're seriously like, oh, for $600, I'm gonna, do all that. No, I wouldn't tell you to buy that for $600. I'd still tell you to go, get a better laptop. For $600, I'd be like, yeah, cheap little laptop, okay. But I wouldn't do all that. Just curious what comments are saying. Yeah.
This is the new MacBook.
But like I said, you have to actively have all that things running, and it'll throw things in the background. And yeah, and like I said, people are going to be like, well, Chief, you don't know how Mac works and all that. And I can tell you definitively, using a Mac, yeah. I know how they work. Starting to think all the videos of the laptop are sponsored. I wouldn't be surprised. Also, you want to know the ultimate irony of this video? He's talking about the video being edited in DaVinci Resolve and all of that, right? What does it say? Edited in CapCut. So at the end of the day, this TikTok video was still put in CapCut. What are you doing? Same with all the Samsung ads I keep seeing. You can tell who's sponsored and who's not. I've seen some genuine creators. Most are sponsored, though. Like, don't get me wrong. If I had a lot more revenue to throw around, I would totally buy one of those laptops to test it out. But $500, I'm not spending on a MacBook, which I know is just going to sit there and collect dust. The $500 that I'm going to spend is going to go on an NVIDIA 5060 Ti that is going to be built in a honeypot that is going to be used in my home lab, because that will be sitting around getting dust while the MacBook, the Tuxedo laptop, the Pangolin laptop all get used, the desktop and all that get used. But that would get dust. But the honeypot will be actively used. By the way, knock on wood, the stream has barely dropped frames this entire time. So I think we finally got our solution, which was setting up the queue streams, setting up the weights inside of the QoS and traffic shaping that I did to give 90% priority to the streaming PC when it's live. But yeah. It's something I'd give my mom, who insisted on a MacBook to interface with her iPad. Yeah, like, don't get me wrong. For your average, everyday person, yeah, I'd totally give them a MacBook like this. $600? Yeah, it's definitely in the range of $600 everyday computer prices. Would I tell a professional to buy this? No. No, I would never suggest a professional buy this, because regardless whether you're on Mac, Windows, or Linux, you need, and this is pushing it, you need at least 16 gigabytes. Ideally, you're going to want 32 minimum. 64 if you can swing it. That's the reality. This MacBook has 32. Okay? You only dropped once. Yeah. It says I dropped 0.2% of frames. But, yeah. Okay. So, copy the link. And what's this video here? Oh, that's the one we just saw. Okay. Next video. Okay, so the last thing we'll look at tonight. You've probably heard about this a little bit. Somebody said that they have looked in tracing $2 billion in nonprofit grants and 45 states of lobbying records to figure out who is behind the age verification bills. The answer involves a company that profits from your data, writing laws that collect more of it. And apparently they've done things like, okay, the post is awaiting moderator approval, but somebody got the Wayback Machine. Thank you. Meta. It's Meta. Meta is behind a lot of these bills around age verification of all these kids all of a sudden. So once again, Zuckerberg yeah, you shouldn't be surprised. What's up, Cybercoaster? But yeah, the California AB 1043, the Colorado Initiative, New York, all of these different bills, they allegedly are all coming from Meta. Which I had a sneaking suspicion of. Allegedly, a bunch of the money that's come behind organizations that have been lobbying for age verification laws that have been popping up out of nowhere is from Meta, allegedly. And that makes sense because Meta would profit off of a lot of this. There's this giant ass Reddit post going through, and Meta's done this before. Meta's just astroturfing shit. Meta needs to kiss my ass. But yeah, I am very unhappy with Meta. I am so thankful I deleted my account with them so many years on Meta. I have no Facebook account. Makes me wonder who's behind Steam getting B2B lawsuit for BS reasons. Yeah, that one has really been tripping me up as well because a lot of the lawsuits that they're getting are like things that have been around for a while, like, oh, well, you know, loot boxes are basically gambling. No, they're like trading cards. They don't affect your gameplay. Or a bunch of other things. But, yeah. It's unfortunate that there's a lot of this stuff happening. But, yeah. But I'm happy that at least I got my, Unifi controller over here. This is my new Unifi, network controller over here with a Raspberry Pi on PoE. This will be rack mounted with a SATA SSD. It's booting off of, it doesn't have an SD card. It replaced this, the Cloud Key Gen 2, because the battery died. That'll be in the rack soon. I am in the middle of moving everything over to a VLAN for the network hardware. I just moved that over to the VLAN today. I gotta move over the other hardware. And these will be the twin gate nodes. I still gotta set up for remote zero trust network access, so those will be happening hopefully by this weekend. And then I'll have content on a bunch of this stuff. I'm still working on the security for the home lab, everything like that. I'll have content on a bunch of all this stuff once it's all wrapped up. I will be honest, I don't think it's going to be one video. There's too much shit for one video. It's probably going to be like 5, 6, 7 videos. Because there's just so much stuff that is going into this whole home lab here. I am working on the honeypot with LLM. I've got the LLM server that I'm running myself. I've got the Zero Trust network access. I've got how I've separated all the things up. I've got pfSense hardened up. I've got, what else did I do? I've got the, Grafana set up, everything Dockerized with Wuzza. I've got, OpenSearch, you know, I've got a full knock, sock, sim, source setup basically going on over here. So over the next couple of weeks, there'll be stuff. I am going to start recording some other content. I have scripts for about 6 or 7 other things. Like I did write the script for my thoughts on the CompTIA Plus, Security Plus, Network Plus. After I took all of them, I wrote those scripts the day of, so those are my perspectives the day of. So they're very fresh. There's a lot of things that'll be coming out. I still got a few more videos I have to post. Well, I have to edit and then post. Yeah, there's a lot happening. It's just been this juggle of I want to tinker, but I want to edit, and I want to record. and then I want to stream, so it's balancing all that time in between my full-time job. But as you can see, I'm starting to get that pep back in my step that I had early on when I was doing my content, because my last job, it really burned me out. I think you saw that for a while where I just didn't have any drive to really do much of anything. Although, funnily enough, my community kept saying, you still do a lot more when you're burned out than I do in a week. Which may be true for some of you, but doesn't make me feel good. But yeah, so there'll be a lot of things coming about. This weekend, I'm planning to go to Micro Center, get another NVIDIA 5060 Ti. That'll be for a honeypot, which will be running an LLM, and it's not going to be a typical honeypot. It'll be a high interactivity honeypot that the AI will be able to change things. So I'm gonna ask one of my buddies who's a pen tester to basically hack my network with permission and see what he sees. And it should be able to adapt with how he approaches it, because it won't just be a static approach, it'll be a dynamic approach. So yeah, where's the femboy anyway? Yeah, that's my hacker buddy. He's busy. He's been working on a bunch of stuff. We chat often. But yeah, so we'll have some really, really cool products. I could tell you're burned out because you ended stream extremely early. Yeah, I mean, I still am ending stream, like, early. Like 10-ish or so, but now it's because I want to go to bed at a reasonable time. But I'm gonna try streaming a little bit more. Yeah. Where's Dev? Dev was in here earlier. He popped in a little earlier. I saw him in the chat. But yeah, we'll have a lot of cool projects happening. Oh yeah, and then one other thing that I'm gonna do, once I get the honeypot going, I'm gonna actually turn my mini PC into a firing range. So I'm gonna turn that into an intentionally vulnerable box on another VLAN that I'm gonna try learning how to pop the boxes. So I'll try teaching myself red teaming, because I'm more on the blue team and, you know, been working more on the red teaming side. And what'll be cool about that is I'm gonna see if my own security systems will pick up my own tactics and techniques, and how we can plot a lot of those things to miter. I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna have to do a lot of that. And I've been documenting a lot of this stuff over on my GitHub. So if you're curious about the home lab, a lot of this is under the pfSense sim stack and the Docker sim stack. Those two are the majority of the projects that have everything there. No, like extremely short streams, like an hour and 2 minutes. Oh yeah. Those were definitely short. But I'm glad. I think we got the streaming quality issues resolved. We only had 0.2% frame drop this stream, which was way better than we had before. Tiny little blips according to chat. So, yeah. But anyway, I got work tomorrow. I gotta fold some laundry. So I'm gonna, hop off. Make sure, if you haven't already, follow me on all of my socials. And, of course, join the Discord, join the Matrix server, follow me on YouTube, follow me on the TikToks, the Twitches, the Kicks, all the platforms. The links are in bio if you don't see them right now. Stick around for the raid if you're on Twitch. As always, I love all of you. Stay safe. and happy hacking. Next official stream is Wednesday. I may try to stream tomorrow. If not, Wednesday. I'm trying to add some extra stream days in, but I got classwork stuff and tinkering shit. But see y'all later.